Hey everyone, same hot room, different setup. I thought I'd mix it up a bit on each of these videos and try out a few different things because I'm kind of learning as we go here. Now, I feel like yesterday's video didn't quite clarify everything. I did say that I would go into the 350,000 and why it was that. I will get to that in tomorrow's video. Today's video is going to be about the difficulty in us finding a home that's suitable for us. And it's a little bit more complicated than you probably think. When I was on stream, I indicated the total pool of properties available in Brisbane. Then you put your filters in and you get it down to houses with minimum of 3 bedrooms, but ideally 4, because Liz and I both work from home primarily. And we wanted to be able to continue to do that because with Taj being at special school, pickup time is at 2 p.m. His brother's going into school, pickup time's at 3. In order to manage work, life, it's really helpful to be close and to be able to just drive there, pick them up. And, you know, Taj has carers and Elijah will have some after school care as well. So we'll be able to manage, but we need to be able to quickly get to where we need to be to not impact work too much. So from a pool of roughly, I think it was 6,800 properties in the greater Brisbane area, around a kind of central point of the Children's Hospital or Taj's special school. Those are places where we feel that you can't detach too far from because of additional complexities that incurs by moving further away. So we put in the filters and we immediately ruled out thousands and got down to a smaller pool. And on that high school catchment zone, which included multiple suburbs and a fairly large area, to be perfectly honest, and it came down to 9 properties when we really sort of started to put the price and the other parameters in there. So from almost 7,000 down to 9. Now, quickly we found, or I demonstrated that although a house might be in the right price range in the right suburb, have approximately the right number of rooms and amenities, the floor plan is critical for us. There is so much to accessibility that's more than just a ramp to get in. It's doorway spacing, it's how entryways are located and the angles between them in order to move large equipment from one room to another. For example, hoists. We're going to have a portable hoist for Taj, and it's a really large piece of equipment, has a very long wheelbase, takes up a lot of room that you need to store it somewhere, but also it's a portable hoist. It's meant to get Taj from his bed to the shower chair or from his bed to his wheelchair, and that happens multiple times a day, and you really need access. And you'd be surprised at how few homes actually meet those sorts of not requirements, but just, well, it is requirements. What am I talking about? But they're not legislated requirements. They're not part of building codes, unless it's a commercial property, of course, because that way it's enforced that you need to account for everyone. Housing's a different story. So you review the floor plans, and we aren't completely discounting 2-story properties, and that's for a number of reasons. One, they are the majority of properties here in Brisbane. There are lots of low-set homes or single-story homes, but because of Brisbane's hilly nature, a lot of homes are built up. That's for being level on hills, as well as lots of areas being very flood prone. Over the years, a lot of people have renovated that bottom floor to be either a garage / storage, or the next step up is to fill it in and have multi-purpose rooms, or the ultimate is sort of the dual living, where you can actually have a self-contained kitchen, laundry, bathroom, bedroom, etc. on both floors. And a lot of multi-generational households exist because these kinds of houses can afford that. Unfortunately, for us, we need everything on one level aside from Liz and my bedroom and Taj's brother's bedroom. Taj's bedroom needs to be on the same floor as all of us in our day-to-day, through living, dining, outdoor, and also access from the vehicle. All that needs to be on one floor, or at least have very little split levels, and ramps can be incorporated easily. However, there are also a lot of instances where it's sort of classed as a single story, but the split level is quite significant and is sort of 3 or more stairs. Some of them are also multi-levels, so to account for a property slope, rather than sort of do more to the land before you're building and designing, it's let's do as minimal as possible. It turns out there's a very small amount of 2-story properties which do have that layout. Another element of what we want is some level of turnkey solution. It's going to be very, very hard to find that. But the reality is, with the cost of housing at the moment and cost of construction at the moment and the timing it would take to even get builders locked in and working and doing the job to a good standard. There's still a lot of risk in the building industry at the moment. There's some really bad apples that are just making the whole thing terrible for everyone. I highly recommend Site Inspections, Aussie YouTuber, quite funny, but also shining a light on some of the dark sides of the building industry. So we're not going to have much money, if any at all, up our sleeves to do a renovation once we get in, and we can't function without at least the minimum level of these requirements. So those 9 properties I talked about, 1 was suitable, potentially in our price range, and that's the one we're bidding on auction this week. I really hope we get it, but today we found out some good news and some bad news. The good news, we can sign the original lease that was offered to us with the rent increase at 12 months. So we aren't going to be out of this house anytime soon. It's awesome. It was horrible to have that hanging over our heads over the Christmas break, but I'm taking that as a win. The other news was from a mortgage broker who let us know that the banks aren't looking at my 3 months of employment as enough. Some need 6. The ones that are okay with lending with me at 3 are lending a much lower rate. So our purchasing power has dropped significantly today, which ultimately means that auction on Thursday is going to be a miracle if we get it. We're still going to try. And I think that kind of puts into perspective the next few months for us, what we might need to be trying to do in order to get out of this house and into the house that's going to be suitable. Ultimately, the numbers might just not work out. We might be stuck here renting all year, just trying to squirrel away enough, hoping that the housing market might take a dip, which it won't. There's too much at stake in Australia in the housing market. It's too big to fail. So ultimately, we'll have to reassess at the end of this week, but we're still going to try, we're still going to bid, and we'll see what happens. Now, there's a lot I want to say about the state of the housing industry and why I feel that the country's in the mess that it is. And there's a lot of people that do it much better than I do. Punters Politics, Friendly Geordies, definitely check them out. There are things that I don't like about the 2 of those. There's things that I do like, but I don't let those biases affect the fact that they are doing good independent reporting. Michael West, just sort of, I think there's a lot of discussion that you hear where people are just not really looking at the raw data about what's happening with housing, what's happening with the mining sector. I want to talk about all of that and just sort of how it's affecting me in general, because I think about that sort of stuff a lot, and a lot of it sort of flows into the sustainability element of what we want to be doing here on the channel, where I want us ultimately in our dream home to be, a carbon neutral, energy efficient, high performance home that's accessible, that's built with universal design principles, and just sort of showing what should be a standard home that is affordable for all people in 2025. I grew up watching a show called Beyond 2000, and I really didn't think that when I was in my 40s and it was 2025 that the world would be in the state that it is. I really thought we would have seen some more innovations aside from things that are not necessarily benefiting society but making a lot of people very, very rich. And that's a whole can of worms, but I'm going to talk about it. And if those videos perform well and people write comments and blah, 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 I'll do more of it. And if people just go, I don't want to hear this, then I'll stop talking about it and I'll just force Liz to listen to me. But look, tomorrow's video, it will be all about that 350,000 and how that's tied into a very big story for us that I really want to tell, but I also am quite fearful of telling. And hoping that maybe that can be a goal or a reward for the 1,000 subscribers, is us being able to put out this story that affected us so badly, has put us in the position that we are now, and continues to affect us every day. I think it's also a story that a lot of people, it will resonate with. Anyway, so please like, subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow. Am I getting any better at this? See you tomorrow.